Welcome, everyone. For those of you who I haven't had the privilege of meeting, I'm Caitlin, and Tim was my dad, and we want to welcome everyone today and just say how honored we are to have you all here, and we're looking forward to spending the next couple hours with all of you.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Adam. I'm Caitlin's husband. Just wanted to thank everyone for taking the time to celebrate Tim with us. Have a lot of people that are joining us all over the country, and I know that Zoom and technology can be tricky for some, but we really appreciate everyone here today. Just wanted to give a little bit of an overview of this evening's festivities. We'll start with a prayer from Caitlin and a toast from Tim's friend Don Budman. We will then have a 20-minute slideshow, and thank you for everyone that submitted and sent us photos. They're great, and this will be a great tribute to see Tim's life. And then we will, after the slideshow, we'll hear from members of Tim's family as well as friends. And so some things that we just wanted to let everyone know that we are recording this for those that were not able to make it, that we can send out. If you're not speaking, we just ask that you please mute yourself, and then if you are speaking, mute yourself. And if you happen to be kicked off for any reason, you can re-enter this from the same link that was sent out through your email. And then if you want to get a little bit crazy with your views, on the top right-hand corner of your Zoom, you can change the view to either have a grid view, which you can see everyone, or presenter view, which you will just see the speakers. So just letting everyone know about those options. And we will start off now with Caitlin and a prayer.
All right. So if you're comfortable, if you could bow your head with me in prayer, please. Father God, we thank you for allowing us to gather here today to remember the life of my dad, Tim Gallagher, with family and friends from all seasons of life. We thank you for his life and the light and the love that he brought in relationship with all of us. We thank you for his perfect design and his gifts, many of which helped him to withstand difficult seasons on this earth. We're grateful for the ways you wove us into his life perfectly and wonderfully. Please help us to lay down any heavy hearts or confusion and replace them with peace that is light and surpasses understanding. Help us to remember his life with laughter and love. We know that he's resting in power and peace. We thank you for his time on this earth with all of us. We lift your name up in praise. Amen.
So well, I think that we're here celebrating Tim, and it wouldn't be right unless we were celebrating with a beverage. We all know that Tim loved his beer. So if you have a beverage with you, or if you need just a couple seconds to get a beverage, we're now going to have a toast led by Don Budman. Don, if you are there.
Yeah, I am. I'm sorry. Am I unmuted now?
You're all good to go.
Okay. Can you see me? Because I can't see me. But it's okay. I've seen enough of me. Thank you for allowing me to do this. When I was first asked to offer the toast, I was honored, but then you just mentioned alcoholic beverage, and I was wondering if that had anything to do with me being chosen. But I'll go with it. Tim was just such a wonderful guy, and he was one of these people that you come across in life who was just a friend to everybody. And he was friendly, whether you knew him, like we all met originally at Penn State many years ago, Penn State Beaver campus. And little did we know how significant that would be in our respective lives as it went forward, and that we'd all still be hanging with each other and enjoying each other all these years. Tim had such a friendly disposition, a positive outlook, even through the challenges that he has been through. And he was really an inspiration, I think, in a lot of ways to all of us with his attitude. And I chose for this toast to a Bud Light. And the reason for that is the last several years, many times when we would go to lunch, we would go to the Olive Garden near South Hills Village. And Adam and Caitlin, it's my understanding that was your go-to place too when you came to Pittsburgh. Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
And whenever we would go there and they would give Tim a choice of the beers that were on tap, it seemed, I don't know if he really loved Bud Light or it just was that he preferred that over any of the other choices there. But in honor of Tim, that's why I'm toasting with a Bud Light. Tim was very courageous through this whole ordeal that he was dealt in life. And he always maintained that positive attitude and outlook. And recently I got a big kick out of an answer that he gave to me, instead of just the generic, Tim, when you see a friend, you always say, hey, how are you? That's just what we all say to each other. But as things were getting a little bit dicey for him there these last several months, I would see he'd be occasionally in a little discomfort. All of us would be very concerned about that. So it took on a new meaning when I would say, Timmy, are you okay today? How are you? And without batting an eyelash, he said to me, he goes, I try to feel good every day. And to me, I love that because that is so Tim. He used to always say, I feel great, even if he didn't. But toward the end, he at least maintained that positive outlook and attitude to say, I try to feel good every day. And that, along with many other things, is what all of us love so much about Tim Gallagher. And well, I have a little echo in there, sorry. So Timmy, with that all said, and on behalf of our whole group here, friends and family, for all you do, this Bud's for you, buddy. We love you, we miss you. May you rest in peace. Here's to you.
Thank you, Don. That was
Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you.
All right, so next we're gonna share a slideshow with everyone. Just a couple quick notes before we do that. I have all of these pictures scanned and pretty computer ready. So if there's something you see and you haven't seen it before and you'd like it, you can text or call or email me and I can email it right over to you. And then the second note is it's also up on YouTube. And so after today, I'll be sending the link out on Paperless Post in case you want to view it again.
Yeah, and a cool thing about this slideshow, it ends with a video that Kaylin and I took visiting Pebble Beach in December, just a little time after Tim passed. And Tim loved Pebble Beach. He loved playing golf there. And so Kaylin and I took a drive. It's a really nice, it's a 17-mile drive around all the golf courses there in the Monterey, California area. And it was a beautiful day. It was early December, but the sun was shining and we just felt Tim's energy everywhere. So I'm really kind of happy that that worked out and that we're able to include that at the end of this slideshow as well.
Is everyone able to see the screen? Someone could come off mute and tell me.
Not yet.
No?
Not yet.
Okay. Oh, hold on, please. Okay. How about now?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
great.
Let's do this.
Is that your dad?
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely when the day that lies ahead of me seemed impossible to face. When someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely when the day that lies ahead of me seemed impossible to face. And when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. I just want to look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely I met him in college.
Oh, at Penn State?
Penn State, yeah.
Oh, really? So you've known him a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Did you guys party together?
Unfortunately, yeah. Too much.
Oh, well. I bet you guys had good times together.
Oh, we did. We
Oh, my.
really taking care of business. I just, unfortunately, I just love beer. Yeah, there's nothing unfortunate about that. Taking care of business. Woo! Taking care of business. Taking care of business. Taking care of business. Taking care of business.
Dad, would you?
I loved golf. Yeah.
Would you play a lot?
Did I? Oh, yeah.
Who did you play with?
Nick Andrews.
How was your golfing buddy?
Yeah. He is good.
He was.
What I want, you got, it might be hard to handle, but like a flame that burns a candle, the candle feels the flame. Yeah, yeah, what I got, full stop, of thoughts and dreams to scatter, and you pull them all together, and how I can't explain. Oh yeah, well, you make my dreams come true. On a night when we become a screamer, when the magic wheels the dreamer, I can laugh it in the face. Twist and shout, away out, and wrap yourself around me, 'cause I ain't the way you found me, and I'll never be the same. Oh yeah, well, 'cause you make my dreams come true. You make my dreams come true. Listen to this. I'm down on my daydream. Oh, that sleep should be over by now. Yeah, yeah. You make my dreams come true. Oh, yeah. Waiting for you, girl. Oh, yeah. You make my dreams come true.
That's awesome.
I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to a kitchen chair. She broke your throat. She cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah. 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 Maybe I have been here before. I know this room, I've walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew you. I've seen your flag on the marble arch. Love is not a victory march. It's a covenant, it's a broken hallelujah. 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 There was a time you let me know what's real and going on below, but now you never show it to me, do you? And remember when I moved in you, the holy dark was moving too, and every breath we drew was hallelujah. 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 Don't you feel it growing day by day? People getting ready for the news. Some are happy, some are sad. Oh, we gotta let the music play. What the people need is a way to make them smile. It ain't so hard to do with you now. Gotta get a message, get it on through. Know that mama's gonna be happy. Oh, listen to the music. Oh, listen to the music. Oh, listen to the music all the well, I know you know better. Everything I say. Meet me in the country someday. We'll be happy. Everything's slow. That's blues away. If I'm feeling good to you and feeling good to me, there ain't nothing we can do or say. Feeling good, feeling fine. Oh, baby, let the music play. Oh, to the music. Oh, to the music. Oh, to the music. All the like a lazy flowing river, surrounding castles and skies. And the crowd is growing bigger, listening for the happy sound. To the music. Oh, to the music. Oh, to the music. All the time.
your favorite courses that you used to play?
Pebble Beach.
You played at Pebble Beach?
Oh yeah,
That's one of the nicest courses, huh?
it is.
Oh my gosh.
Is that in like the Monterey area?
It is. Yeah.
Two drifters off to see the world. There's such a crazy world to see. We're all chasing after us, chasing after us. River, wider than a mile, crossing its down someday. My dream maker, wherever you're going, I'm going the same. Two drifters off to see the world. It's such a crazy world, you'll see. We're all chasing after our end, chasing after our end. Life's just around the bend, my friend. Moon, river, and me.
That was so well done.
Thank you. It was fun to do, and everyone contributed to it. So there were just so many pictures. We should have given the caveat that it was 20 minutes long, but just everyone sent so much, and all of it was too good not to include. So thank you to everyone.
Wow.
From here, we're gonna jump into just hearing from loved ones, and I'll go ahead and start us off, and then from there, Uncle Bill, we'd love to have you next if that's something you'd still like to do, and then John Tarley can go after that, and then we'll just keep kind of going through the list of people that reached out. If you're feeling moved to say something and you didn't reach out prior, just go ahead and type your name in the chat, and we can get to you as well. So that is not a problem. Feel free to do that also. Am I off of screen share?
Okay, you might be now. See, hey, Galen.
Yes.
There you go. All right, here I am.
Hello.
Hey, how are you, honey?
Would you like to go first?
That was fantastic.
It was.
Yeah.
You did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Putting it all together.
Yeah.
Uncle Bill, would you like to start us
Oh,
off?
absolutely, absolutely.
Go for
As
it.
we all know, Tim was a good-looking dude from day one and maintained those looks till the end. He always had a great smile. He was very photographic, and my parents loved to take his pictures. I can remember at holidays, the family would watch slides, and it seemed like Timmy was in 90% of them. Remember me when I was growing up, the Johnny Carson show. Here's Johnny, here's Timmy, here's Timmy. That's what we saw during the holidays. Tim also had a great sense of humor. When I visited him in California about 30 years ago, we played golf and we were teamed up from a man from Nestle Foods. So therefore, Tim and him had a lot in common. Tim and I played pretty well on the front nine. After the front nine, we told him we were going to play golf the next day. Would you like to join us? I would love to. Okay. Well, I had just bought a new pair of golf shoes. And at that time, golf shoes were all leather. So basically, we decided to walk too. So after 9 holes, I had blisters on the back of my foot that looked like $50. All right. But anyway, this guy didn't know that yet. So he said, yeah, definitely like to play with you tomorrow. Made plans. Well, Timmy and I on the back 9, we stunk out the joint. Okay. I mean, we went 11, 12, 13, 14. It was absolutely horrendous. And this guy started to distance himself. 14, he didn't say anything. 15, he didn't say anything. 16, didn't say anything. Tim's getting really pissed. Okay. 17, we can tell. We're not going to see him tomorrow. 18, he tees off. Before we get done teeing, he's going down the fairway. We both hit it to the right. Okay. Tim's really getting mad. He says to me, hey, Bill, watch this. Tim gets up, hits that ball. He missed this guy's head by an inch. This guy looks back, gives us the finger and runs away. But also, when I was a kid growing up, I've known this girl from church for years. She was the organist, and I liked her. Okay, so finally got the courage to invite her to our pool to swim. Okay, so anyway, we get to the pool, and Timmy was Timmy. Oh, I want to swim. Can I spend time with you guys? Yeah, sure, but not too much. All right. So finally, after a while, he finally gave up. Okay, so when it was time to take this girl home, I said, let's go. And we hadn't seen Timmy for a half hour. Okay. Anyway, we walked back to the car, and believe it or not, here's Timmy. He's like 9 or 10 at the time, stuck between the back seat and front seat. Okay, stinking down it. He wants to ride home with us. All right. So we didn't say a word. So I just gradually pulled back the seat till he started crying. So. But these I could go on and on with these stories forever. I saw Timmy 2 or 3 times a week at the end of his life. I mean, from the beginning to the end of his life. I saw him go from a mechanical wheelchair to an electrical, where then he couldn't, he had to be pushed around. I saw him go from being able to feed himself to basically somebody had to feed him the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. But I'll say one thing, he never, ever complained. Right. All the stuff he had to put up with, and he never complained one time. Right. Not once. The last time I saw him was on Zoom, the Wednesday before he passed away. He couldn't talk. He hadn't eaten in days, weeks probably. I said, hey, Tim, it's Pat and Bill. There was the great smile, a smile I will never forget. That's right. I will remember that smile till day one. Thank you, Tim, for being my good brother. Rest in peace.
Thank you, Uncle Bill. Very nice. Thank you. All right. Okay, I would like to say a couple words, if that is okay, and then we'll have John Tarley after myself, and then Aunt Sue and Uncle Jim. So I would describe my dad's life as full. It was short and definitely challenging at times, but definitely full. He had the most incredible family who he loved and was deeply proud of. He talked about his mom and dad all the time. They were the joys of his life. And when I was going through some of my dad's things, I found literal love letters from his dad telling him how much he loved him and how proud he was of him, and calling him a champ, which I really loved. My dad was a proud big brother to 2 sisters and a proud younger brother to 3 siblings. He would always tell me when he saw them or spoke with them, and he loved their partners, and he loved all of his nieces and nephews very, very much. My dad also made the most amazing friends along his journey. I know that through reading notes and looking at pictures and just seeing the outpour of love and food drop-offs and beer deliveries since May. And I could only be so lucky to have the family and friends that he had. My dad traveled a lot and saw scenery that I think that he held with him. we connected and related a lot around his travels. I would describe places in California that I would visit, and he had been there before. And so we would talk about them, down to when I would visit certain cities, he would remember that there was a cereal plant there and would ask me if the city still smelled like cereal. Um, He being in relationship with people was the biggest gift that my dad had. He was kind and trusting and always fun and positive to be around. Even when he earned the right to be grumpy and ornery, I just never saw glimpses of that in him. Down to the very last day that he passed away, he was smiling that morning on Zoom call. Growing up, I can say that my dad, he was the coolest. He was just the ultimate girl dad. He let me paint his nails and style his hair with no complaints. My friends always liked to be around him because he was just goofy and easy to be around. I used to love when he would meet new friends because they would ask what they needed to call him, and he didn't want to be called Mr. Gallagher or Mr. Tim. He would say Timothy Richard James Gallagher the first, and then he would point at them and say my name, don't wear it out. And they would just kind of stare back at him like, how am I going to remember all that? He also had some really quirky qualities. When we would eat dinner as a family, we would all hold hands and chant "Shake a Little Love." And for 16 years afterwards, he would say, "Kids sleep in it, not on it." And I have no idea what it meant. And I never asked him. It was just something kind of odd that he did. And I'll always remember it. He made me chocolate chip pancakes with way too many chocolate chips. And when he would drive me in the car, he would go really fast over bumps and take his foot off the brake so that we could get air. I loved spending Christmas Eve with him because it was always just him and I. And when I got older and grumpier, he would sing very loudly off key in service and then ask me how he sounded. When I was in middle school and he was in a wheelchair and struggling with his sight, he always would come to my performances and tell me that he could hear my voice and I did great. Even if I was singing with 40 other people, I still believed that he could hear just me. And being at the beach with him was always the best. I had his undivided attention. And although my dad was a worrier, he was always at true peace when he was at the beach. And I have one memory of being at the beach with him. I was in kindergarten and he put me on his shoulders and he told me to grab his earlobes. And so we were just walking down the beach and I was holding his earlobes. And I remember thinking in that moment, laughing with him about it and thinking, I have the coolest dad. And I definitely did. Watching him lose his independence and eventually move to Pennsylvania after middle school was very, very hard for us all to experience. But I can say that through it all, his sense of humor and his desire to be in relationship with others, that never has changed. Also, his amazing hairline, his face freckle. I have the same one and I love it because it makes me think of him. His beautiful eyes, his smile, his skin. He was just smiling until the day that he passed away. I feel very lucky to have built a new relationship with him in my adult life and learned that over time, these qualities of being in relationship with people and his positive sense of humor was really what helped him carry through all these years. I also felt the closest with him when he would share with Adam and I his last few months that he was lonely or scared, but then he would quickly follow up by saying he was doing really good. And so although he was scared and sad at times, he would wake up and make a conscious choice every day not to let that take over. And to me, that's what made him the strongest person. A few memories that stand out to me over the last 10 years. Food and beer were his love language. Within 5 minutes of me being in his room, he would have me grab candy out of the top drawer of his dresser. He would quickly tell me that he didn't want any because he was watching his weight. And then within a couple of minutes, he would say, okay, give me a piece, I'll take some. He also loved his mom a lot. And when Adam and I were there a couple years ago, we were laughing a little bit because he had a pile of bananas that he was saving on a table next to his bed. He said he was saving them for his mom because she loved bananas. And then also just going over to Olive Garden and later lunches in the Rose Room. It always felt like an escape for us. And plus he just really loved to eat. So something else that really stands out to me is just relying on other people to stay in relationship with my dad. Once he lost movement of his arms and wasn't able to do phone calls anymore, my Uncle Chris and Aunt Jeannie were instrumental in just maintaining a relationship with him. Every Sunday at 8 a.m. we would call for 30 minutes to an hour, and they were just our lifeline. And so I'm grateful for the relationships that my dad built. I also loved meeting people that met him in his later life and saw the same qualities that we all saw that knew him earlier. Mickey and John, who were at Genesis, they ate with him for 12 years. One of the first times that I met John was in college, and he showed me so much empathy. I was in my mid-20s, and he told me how much my dad cared for me, and he did it without expectation or shame, and the conversation was incredibly healing, and him and Mickey knew my dad very, very well. The very last time that I saw my dad in person was with John and Mickey. And my dad had been really worried about Mickey and asking about her on the phone. And so when we went outside to see him, Mickey and John were both out there. And my dad was so happy and wanted me to tell them that he loved them so much. And they got to see each other. And so I thought that that was really appropriate that we all got to spend time together. And when I was leaving him, I told him it was a good day. And he said that it was the best day. And so that's something that will always stick with me. Also, the Zoom calls over the last 8 months have been a true gift. I've just enjoyed getting to know everyone at Genesis, Ian and Jackie and Dee and Mary, Krista, Marilyn. I could just go on. Everyone was amazing at just helping us all stay in touch. We had many conversations about going to the beach and golfing. My dad developed a bit of an obsession with me learning to golf and eventually playing at Pebble Beach. And so I would sometimes even pull out pictures of Pebble Beach and just describe to him what I saw in the pictures. My dad always worried about the cost of living in California. And so I got to tell him about a home that we recently purchased within 50 feet of the bay. He was so happy to learn that we would be living near water and told me that that was his peaceful place. And I told him that it felt like a place of heaven. He told me that he wished that he could see it, and he was sad that he wouldn't be there to see it. And I told him that he would someday. I don't think that I could have done what he did and maintained a positive outlook and stayed in relationship with all the people that he did. I'm so proud of him. He earned the right to be grumpy and just never gave in to this way of life. His light was everywhere, and he's one of the strongest people I know. I will miss him dearly and would do anything to hug him. I look forward to just seeing him in my dreams. So thank you for listening. John Tarley, if you want to come off of mute.
All right.
Can you hear us, Caitlin?
Can, Tina, thank you.
I want to thank you first for putting this on. It is great honor to your dad. And I also got what's on my mind, a story about you, what you did to him. Maybe you remember. You were singing in the church and you said, "Dad, do you know how to hum?" Yeah. will hum. All right, the next song, he hummed. How was I, Caitlin? You were fine, Dad. You remember that?
I do.
Well, thank you for putting on a great show. You showed pictures there we'd never to see before, and he was a great man. And we're so glad to be with him the past 12 years. He was the best friend we had at Country Meadows. He was the most honest, trustworthy, and pleasant person to be around. My wife, Mickey, and I sat with him for lunch and dinner for the past 12 years. We had great conversations and we joked a lot. He told us many stories about himself, like when he stole the watermelon. He also stole the grocery cart because he couldn't carry the watermelon. The cop came to the house and asked his dad if Timothy Gallagher lived there. Yeah. His dad wasn't too pleased. Another time he was in high school, he told us about a fight he was in. It was one-sided. Tim would not fight back. The guy kept hitting him, would say, "You have enough?" No. You hit him again? You had enough? No. This went on until the guy got tired and stopped hitting Tim. I asked Tim, "Why didn't you fight back?" Tim said, "I could never hit somebody in the face."
Oh.
He went to Catholic school. He told us about a time he gave the middle finger to a nun. The nun punished him by having his hand out and smacking him with a ruler. We shared these stories so many times with different people, and Tim would smile ear to ear. He loved it. We had great conversations about the Steelers and Penn State. He loved telling stories about the trip he took for his business, traveling all over the world. We looked forward every day to lunch and dinner, and we're sure he did too. Tim never complained. He never asked, "Why me?" No negativity ever. Tim had so many friends that cared for him. They would take him out for dinners and ball games. I would joke with him, say he would have so many friends at his funeral. When I die, I said I would have to send invitations. He got a kick out of that. He said, "You have a lot of friends, John." He has a friend that came every Tuesday. Susan would spend half a day with Tim, take him outside when it was nice, then helping him eat his lunch. He worried so much about my wife. When she had to go to the hospital, he would worry so much and could not wait to talk to her. He loved his daughter so much. When she called to tell him she was coming to visit, that is all he would talk about. It was so hard not seeing him these last 10 months. We were allowed an outdoor visit a few months ago. Only 2 family members could be outside at a time. As fate would have it, there was Tim and Caitlin sitting out there. Although we were in masks and socially distanced, we were able to say hello to each other and chat. Caitlin walked out with my son and me and shared that Tim was on hospice. We were not surprised, but still felt devastated. Our hearts are very heavy. 12 years ago, we had to adjust our lives when my wife was admitted to Country Meadows. We didn't realize at that time that she would spend the rest of her life there. We also didn't realize that we would have met a friend like Tim. He was a genuine soul, caring friend, and we loved him. We are glad that he is at peace, but we will miss him terribly. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, John. It was so nice. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Aunt Sue and Uncle Jim.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin. Hi, everybody. Sorry, Caitlin, we couldn't get it off mute. We are not good at these kinds of things. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing that you produced, put together. It was gorgeous. I laughed, I cried. It was perfect, absolutely perfect.
Thank you. Everyone.
It was great. It was great.
I just want to say thanks to everybody that's here. I mean, everybody that's here, Tim touched their life in one way or another. And, you know, Susie and I don't have to go into I mean, from 76 on, it's just unbelievable. But I will share.
Mine was longer.
But I will share two things with you, one early and one late. First time I met Tim, I had 10 stitches in my face. Cheek was fractured. I got hit with a slap shot during a Penn State game. So first time he met me, he just looked at Susie, he goes, "That's the best you can do." The second time I met him was at his apartment in Eastgate. Now, you got to realize I've never met most of the people, his friends that were at Eastgate, and for those of you that'll never know what Eastgate, imagine one of the biggest slum apartment facilities you can ever imagine living in. And that's where Tim and his friends were living. So Susan and I walk in. First of all, you got to understand the windows were taped with duct tape and plastic.
No windows.
No windows, because they had taken the windows out. We walk in and there's a TV. There's all these guys sitting around a TV, and there's a keg in the middle of the floor. And there's Tim. And what's Tim doing? It's a Steelers game. Now you got to realize the other thing is I'm from Philadelphia. So I grew up an Eagles fan. The Steelers, you know, it was at Penn State, it was always Philadelphia versus Pittsburgh. So I'm walking into an apartment complex with one guy I've met with Susie, one guy's sister, and everybody's crushed. But there's Timmy and sitting in front of the TV, and he's got Jack Lambert on his shirt. And every time Lambert came up to the line of scrimmage, Timmy would take the legs of Jack Lambert and jump up and down with him. It was the most, that's how our real relationship began. Later in life, and I think I don't know, some people may know, some people may not. But every Friday afternoon, I'd grab a 6-pack on my way home from work and go over to Country Meadows. And Tim and I would have happy hours. We'd walk in with the 6-packs. I can tell you right now, the nurses weren't too happy with it, but they were real good about it. And Tim and I probably had some of our most serious conversations about a lot of things. And Susie doesn't know this either, but the one thing that upset him greatly was when we had to go in and tell him that Susie was diagnosed with MS. And that was tough. But the one thing he said is, Susie's tough, she can handle it. And I looked at Tim and I said, well, you're the toughest son of a bitch I've ever seen handling something like this. And so I'll just leave you with that. Tim was unbelievable. Good friend. God took him way too soon, but I think God knows what he was doing. And I think probably given the circumstances, it was a blessing for Tim, and he's much happier where he is now. So thanks, Caitlin.
Well, knowing Tim since we were tiny little has been amazing. We actually hated each other until we got to college because he was not, he was that cool guy, you know, that one. And I was just his 2-year younger sister. And that's okay. We got to college. And when we ended up at main campus, my freshman year, all of a sudden he changed. He was the best big brother you could ever want to know. He was always seeing if I needed anything. I mean, anytime anything was going on, I was invited. Jim was invited, and everybody was invited. But he was a great big brother. And you know, moving on, I met your mom, and you know, we hung out, your mom and dad and Jim and I hung out all the time together. Hence, here comes Caitlin and Kelly. We used to come visit you guys, and it was fun. It was fun. It was so nice to see you guys. And you could see a change in Tim a little bit. You know, he just not his spirit or anything physically, but hey, he was on top of the world all the time. Always had a smile on his face. Always had a good word for you. He was a good guy. He was a good guy. But and story Jim tells, he tells everybody the story about Jack Lambert. He just thought that was amazing. But yeah, and you know, we throughout the end, we didn't see as much of Tim towards the end as we had earlier in our lives. But
You would go to see Penn State games over to.
we went and watched Penn State with Tim on the weekends. But yeah, and he always loved it. He always knew what was going on. He couldn't see it, but he could hear it.
Yeah.
But
he knew more about the team sometimes.
He really did.
It was amazing.
He did.
I think he picked up more listening to the radio and the
Yes.
TV broadcast because he couldn't see it. And I think that's, you know, the one thing he also said told us, he goes, I'm just thankful that I still have my mind.
I guess
And he did.
I can handle everything
Yep.
else, he goes, but I don't want to lose my mind.
And he did. He did.
And in other words, he wanted to stay, and he did. He was sharp till the end.
Last time we actually saw Tim, we were at his window and nobody could get in there. And we had been down to see my mom. We were visiting outside. We're knocking on his window, and he looks up, and he actually has a hospice nurse with him, and we're talking. And
The hospice nurse actually cracked the window
so we could
because
talk.
we would talk.
Yeah.
And we were howling. It was funny as hell. You know, I mean, it was 20 minutes. We're standing in a window. We're standing in a mulch, and Tim's going, "Isn't this a crazy way to crack?" but at least we got to see him.
Yeah. But it was, yeah, he was my brother, and he'll always be my brother. We loved him. We're done.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks for taking care of this and setting us up.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Thanks everybody that's here too. Seriously.
Thank you so much. I'm loving hearing stories about my dad. This is incredible. I am wondering, Uncle Jim, are you feeling okay about hopping in now? We'll do Uncle Jim and then Don Budman.
Okay, am I there?
Yes.
Okay. Tim was a character with a capital C. And you can always tell a character because when you're asked to tell a story, a million stories come up. You have to really consider what you're going to say because there's so many stories to pick from. And one of the times that I have to remember Tim is we were going to Florida with the girls and Siobhan and Kim, and we got a flat tire outside of Beckley, West Virginia. And your dad had the tires checked before we left on the trip. And we got the flat tire. He was angry. I never saw Tim like that ever, except for that night. And we finally got the tire off the wheel, and he was about ready to throw it over the guardrail down this huge hill. He was so mad. And I'm screaming, no, 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 no. And he goes, what? And I said, I think we need that wheel. He goes, oh yeah. And all of a sudden he was back to me and Tim, just that quick. One other quick story kind of shows Tim was always there to help. He and I were playing golf at the old Seven Springs public golf course out here in Pittsburgh. And I was in a sand trap and I must have hit at least 6 times. And Tim comes over after I hit, and I'm not kidding, I was at least 6 times. I could not hit out of a sand trap to save my life. And he comes over and very quietly and very confidently says, try this. Hit an inch behind the ball, exaggerate your follow through. And since that time, and that's 30 years ago, I don't have any problems at all getting out of a sand trap. And every time I go into a sand trap, which is more than once around, I always think of your dad. Plus, there's been many people that I've been playing with that couldn't get out of sand trap, and I forwarded that onto them, and they were able to do it. We lived in Tyrone while Tim was going to Penn State, so we were able to see him once in a while. Kathy would, when he lived in the slums, Kathy would make chocolate chip cookies, and we'd take them up. And all the guys would be there, be a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, and Bo would grab the cookies. And by the time Tim was saying goodbye to us, all the cookies were gone. He never got any cookies. And I knew that they were very good friends because he never got upset about it. And one last story, we were in Florida. Dawn was 9 months old, our oldest. And during the week, Grandma and Grandpa would go out to eat, and the rest of us would go out later so that we could watch Dawn in the hotel. The last night we were there, Grandpa says, we're all going to dinner. And they'd been there to this place before. It was called Captain Ed's. And Tim was in my car. And we go on the interstate. And Tim goes, isn't that Captain Ed's? And we go right past the exit. Go over a toll bridge, paid $1, turned around, came back, paid another $1 back over the bridge, got off at that exit, pulled in the parking lot. Your dad gets out, and everybody is being very quiet because everybody knew your grandpa was not in a very good mood. And Tim goes, hey, Dad, I know a shortcut. And you can see the steam coming out of Grandpa's ears. But after about 30 seconds, he had to laugh too. There's a million other stories we could talk about, but Tim was a great guy. Like I said, the only time I ever saw him mad was with that tire, and it changed very quickly. So, but Caitlin, thank you for putting this together.
Yeah, thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you. I'd never heard that story before about the tire. I loved that.
Oh, he was just, he had him checked, and then we got a flat tire. And as it turned out, it was a nail. But I mean, I thought he was going to chew through the tire iron. He was really, really pissed.
Thank you for sharing. Aw. All right, Don Budman, if you want to.
Sure, I'm here. Thank you. And Jim, thanks for telling some funny stories, because now I won't feel so self-conscious about telling some things that are just outright ridiculously silly. We've all talked about Tim's positive outlook and the fact that he had such a great sense of humor, which we all love. And I would say his sense of humor was actually sometimes just downright ridiculously silly. And one of the many things that I remembered about Tim was that silliness. And so I'll just share a few of those silly anecdotes, if you don't mind. One of them was, you know, we talked earlier about how friendly Tim is and outgoing and how he had so many friends. And when we all first met at Penn State Beaver campus, Tim was a friend not just to people on his sports teams or the guys that lived on our floor in our dorm, which was called Harmony Hall at Penn State Beaver campus, but he was friends with everybody, not just on our floor. And one of the things that and this is really silly, I'll just say it right there, but it was just so funny. There was a guy that was a classmate of ours who was on the first floor. We all lived on the second floor. And whenever Tim would pass him in the hallway, his name is George Phil, F-I-L-L, as it sounds. And every time Tim would pass him, Tim would get in his face and go, George, I've had my fill of you. and he would just laugh hysterically. And even after he said it the 200th time, he still laughed the same way he did the first time he said it. And I'm sorry, I flunked a few exams because of him, but it was worth it. And it was just like, I loved it. It was just like, he made me laugh constantly. One of the other things I remembered about Tim, this was much later as his MS was starting to have such a profound effect on him and his health and well-being. And of course, all of us would ask him about what was going on, how do you feel, that kind of thing. And one day I'm sitting in his room over there at Country Meadows, which of course the part he was in became known as Genesis. And I'd say, Tim, what's the latest? How you doing? And he'd say, well, he goes, I got to tell you, I knew his vision was getting bad all the time. And one day he looks over at me, he says, he goes, technically I'm legally blind. And I said to him, well, I've been told by a lot of our friends that I haven't changed a bit since college. And he says, I'm not that blind. That is so Tim. I just love that. Then if you don't mind, again, it's just another quick. They're all stupid like that, but it's okay. I was with Timmy at a Pirate baseball game, kind of like within the last 2-3 seasons. We had great seats. In part of the game, we were so close to the inside bar that we spent part of that in there, part at our seats. The weather was beautiful. I don't remember who they played that day, but it's a safe bet the other team won. So we're sitting there, and Tim liked his beer, as was mentioned before, and we had a couple beers. And I looked over at him and I said, hey, Timmy, you want to have a shot of whiskey just to celebrate our good day together here in the summer? He goes, sure. That was a real arm twister. So we drank a shot. We might have had a second one. Okay, I'll admit it. Well, I found out after the fact that don't do that anymore. Jack Daniels doesn't mix real well with some of Tim's medication. So the next time I got together with him, I told him, I said, Timmy, we have fun and laugh, but I want you to be with us I don't want to get you in trouble or me in trouble. I've found out Jack Daniels doesn't mix real well with your medicine. And he just, how quick he was. And he just looked at me and he smiled and he goes, I won't tell him if you don't. It was just like, it was awesome. And the only other thing I want to say that's not like a story like that, but this is so nice and so heartwarming. And the other thing that I remember besides Tim's sense of humor and how much has been said that he loved his family is he was so gracious. And whenever people, let's say they'd come in and visit him in his place or go out to lunch, a lot of us would go out to we mentioned before, the Olive Garden or whatever, and we'd always have special guest appearances by different people over time. Sometimes even a lot of his friends that would come in from out of town cared so much about Tim and his well-being. That was a high priority, was to go and either visit him in his room or participate in one of the lunches. And he was just so gracious and appreciative of that. And it was very heartwarming and only made you want to spend even more time around him. Whenever you mentioned his daughter, he would really brighten up, and I got a big kick out of that. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you. Thanks for putting this together. This has been so nice.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Really appreciate it. That's funny. Those are some clever statements by him.
Yeah.
Hysterical. We'll have Mom, if you want to go next. I know you wanted to say a couple words, and then we'll do Jerry Bemrick, and then Jean Senator, and then Nick Andrews.
Thanks for making me laugh, Dawn. I said I knew I was going after Dawn, and I said, you better make me laugh. So I appreciate that. And to piggyback on Jim Zamboli's story, he forgot to mention that we were on the top of a mountain in West Virginia in like 0 degrees, and it was winter, but obviously we were traveling to Florida. And so there was so many people in this station wagon. Isn't that a blast from the past, a station wagon? It was a Coca-Cola owned station wagon. We didn't have jackets or anything. So we were, and in order to get to the tire, we had to completely unload the entire car and all of us. So there's Jim and Kathy, Tim and myself, Siobhan, Dawn and Dara, they're little babies. And we're on the top of a mountain in West Virginia with beach towels wrapped around us, trying to get to the tire. So it was definitely an experience. I appreciate the story. So, so Tim and I shared 28 years together in life, just traveling life, and an amazing daughter. And above anything else, you know, Tim was just really a great guy. And all the words that like Dawn used and so many people use, that, you know, what I remember most about him was his sense of humor, the fact that he was just silly. I mean, he was just a crack up. One of the other things that he always used to say at dinner, along with what Caitlin mentioned, he used to say, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. And so, and he would say that almost every night, and not quite sure where any of it came from. But he was a gentleman. He was kind. He would give you the shirt off his back. And he was a very, very committed friend. But in going through all the pictures, you know, over the last couple months, one of the things that became a common theme, and I think it probably showed in the slideshow, was the majority of pictures and Tim's love of water and Tim's love of the beach, and how he was so invigorated by that. And it was just, and it became something that was threaded throughout almost all those pictures. And it was also in most of the milestones and important decisions of our time together. So his love of the water actually began from being very young. They had a swimming pool in their backyard, but most of the memories that I remember him telling me about was of Canada and the things that he loved about those annual summer trips with the family every single year. But he was never far from a body of water. And he always said that it made him relax and he felt at peace near the beach, walking on the beaches or the water. And that was true, like from all of the time we spent at Moraine State Park and Lake Erie, and then up and down the coast of the East Coast, because, you know, it was East and, you know, then it was West. But, you know, as we got older, it was always important to like link a golf course with that body of water, because, you know, it was important that a golf course not be far away. We were off to Plymouth, Minnesota in 1982, and we found ourselves in a home that was only a block away from Medicine Lake. And there we are in Minnesota, surrounded by 10,000 lakes. And so there was always an opportunity to be on the water, whether it was boating, swimming, walking on the beach, ice fishing. We even tried ice fishing. There are countless stories of being saved and rescued by the Coast Guard, having to be hauled into the shore because we grounded boats, and we, you know, all kinds of other things that we tried doing, which yeah. Then we actually were off to Traverse City, Michigan for a very short stop, and we literally rented a home with Lake Michigan in our backyard. I mean, the shore of Lake Michigan was our backyard. And then we were off to California in May of '86, and 2 weeks in, we weren't even unpacked, and it happened to be Memorial Day weekend, and we were off to the beach. We left, sat in traffic with all the other crazy California people for about 4 hours, never made it to the beach, turned around, came home, and then got up the next morning, and we had to leave earlier to get there because it was very important for him to be able to get to 17 Mile Drive and to get to the beach. So there were countless experiences on the beach, from Carmel to Monterey to Pebble Beach. Yes, many golf excursions at Pebble Beach, Cambria, Santa Cruz, San Diego, and the list could go on and on and on. When there was free time, that's where Tim wanted to be, either near the water or on a golf course. And if he could combine the two of them, then that was even better. In 1981, Tim's parents introduced us to Naples, Florida, and it was instant love. We purchased a timeshare in Bonita Springs on that very first vacation without even thinking about it. US 41 was a mere 2 lanes. If anybody is familiar with Naples now, you know how weird that is. Martha and Colby. And Bonita Springs was just this teeny tiny little beach town that nobody knew where even Bonita Springs was. But for 15 years, for 2 weeks, every single Thanksgiving, that's where you would find Tim. Tim introduced Naples to the Andrews, the Robertsons, and countless other friends and family. So much laughter, so much fun. Walking the beaches in Naples and Bonita is where Tim made decisions about work, about his job, about his golf game, going over it and over it and over it and talking about it and talking about it. And it's also where we found out we were pregnant with Caitlin. And then introducing Caitlin to his love of the water and spending time with her brought so much joy and adventure. Okay. Tim also had a deep faith and love of God. And I can't help but reflect on the scripture's reference to water. One of my favorite scriptures is Psalm 23. And I'm just going to read the beginning of it out of the New Life Translation. The Lord is my shepherd. I have all I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside still waters. He renews my strength. He guides me along the right paths, bringing honor to his name. The waters bring much peace and rest to our spirit. The waters were a place of rest for Tim, a place of trust, a place of confidence, a place to rely and focus on God without any distractions. And this is the image that I'm using to remember Tim walking the beach beside the waters. God has taken a great heavy load from your life, Tim, and replaced it with his everlasting peace and rest. And to Caitlin, you are your dad and my greatest gift from God. And Tim would always kid around and be silly. And he would say, I'm Timothy Richard Gallagher, Timothy Richard James Gallagher, son of William Gallagher Sr. And so I want you to never forget that you are Caitlin Marie Gallagher, daughter of Timothy Richard James Gallagher. So sweet dreams and peace, be peaceful, Tim, and you are loved by so many. And see you at the beach. Thank you.
Thank you. That was nice. Okay. Jerry Bemrick.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm a little challenged here with this computer, so apologize for the delay here.
No, we can see and hear you.
Okay. I'm glad that I was able to hear Kim there because it brought back a lot of memories of when I started with General Mills, and it was in May of '86. And I had moved from Iowa to California, and I brought Jared, who was 6 months old, and it was a big move for us. And Tim made me so comfortable. He was my first region manager, and I tell you, I just idolized that guy. He was a mentor to me. And I remember like it was yesterday going up to Walnut Creek when you were born, Caitlin, and seeing Kim, and it was like, we were family. And that's the way Tim treated our family and welcomed us to California. And he just, I tell you what, I learned so much from him, and he was such a mentor. I ended up with 29 years of service with General Mills, and I owe it all to Tim. He was he meant so much to me, and he gave me so much faith in the company. When times when I was frustrated, He guided me through the corporate world. I wasn't the best at it, and he was the best at it. And that's where I learned so much from him. So um, he just always had that positive attitude and never seemed down. And once he got MS and our life moved on, where I remember when he was in Pittsburgh, I grabbed a ticket and flew out to Pittsburgh to see him in the nursing home, and had him in the chair, and I took him outside and we sat and we talked for a day. And I tell you, it was hard to watch that disease, but he just never ever got down. And even to the end, I would say, Tim, I would call him all the time, and Tim, I'm praying for you. And he'd always laugh and he'd say, Jerry, I need prayers. And I'd laugh and we'd both laugh. But, Tim meant a lot to me, and he influenced not only my life, but my children's life. Our second son is named after Tim. And we both, the family, were able to get on the phone and talk to Tim, which was important to my kids. So we got to say our goodbyes. So now, one last story here. I actually am over in Las Vegas to watch football games, and I started with General Mills in '86 when I met Tim, and I found a penny on the floor. We always believe pennies on the floor, pennies from heaven, and it's dated 1986. Wow. And it just gave me shivers. So I'm going to end it with that Tim is with us.
Thank you, Jerry. It's really nice. Thank you. Are you in Vegas right now?
I am. Yep. Go Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I found a picture of your sons with my dad, and I put it in the slideshow. I know you just joined us, but I'll make sure to send it to you. Oh, it's really nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Gene Senator, if you're on.
Well, thanks, Caitlin. You've done a wonderful job. I appreciate you putting this all together. Of course, like most of our other Penn State friends, I met Tim on the second floor of Harmony Hall at Beaver Campus. I met Tim very early on, just like you would expect, because of intramural sports. We were playing intramural football at the very beginning of our freshman year, and one of our first games, Tim injured his leg, and he was limping, and he limped for, it took a little while for him to recover, but anyways, we all started calling him Chester. So for the longest time, I never knew his name was Tim. We just knew him as Chester, and I can just picture him with his blue ball cap on backwards, and that was the Tim I got to initially know. But come the end of our freshman year, that summer between our freshman and sophomore year, at the very end of our summer vacations, Tim and I decided to go to Ocean City, Maryland, once again by the water, to visit our pal Matt Hurley, who was working at Ocean City all summer. So Tim and I, well, we were friends. We weren't great friends at that time. We boarded a Greyhound bus off to Ocean City, spent the middle of the night in not the better parts of Baltimore, but eventually we made it to Ocean City. And I can't tell you how we bonded. Timmy and I became great friends that week together we had. And I won't relive many of our experiences there, but I'll relay one, and Dawn will attest to this. Up until the end, Timmy still always remembered this. One evening, Matt took us across the Maryland-Delaware state line to a bar that was right there, and I still remember the place. They had picnic tables and cheap pitchers of beer, and there was a Beatles cover band, and we loved it, and we had a great time. And Matt had left early, and it was just Tim and I, and we had to find our way back to Ocean City. So we just started walking, Well, when you know it, here we come across the Delaware-Maryland state line. And of course, we had been drinking plenty of beers. So Timmy and I decided to relieve ourselves in 2 states at one time as we straddled the state line. So Timmy, that was one of our great memories, but let's move on to better things. Just like everybody else, Timmy's positivity up until the end was amazing. I don't know how many times I talked to him on the phone, I visited him. I left there shaking my head. Boy, I think I had it tough at times. Listen to this guy. You know, he was an amazing fellow through all the times. And I'll always remember him. But to make sure I always will remember him, I still have this $20 check that's over 40 years old. And the reason it's never been cashed is he wrote something very special in the memo. And once I saw that, I can never cash this check. So Timmy, I will always have this check to remember you by, buddy. Thank you, Kaylin.
Thank you so much. What year was the check written, Jean?
1980. I don't think this account is still open, Kim. It was a Union National Bank account. You guys were living on, I don't have my glasses on. This was probably your apartment. Macaulay Road, 1297 Macaulay Road, apartment 2B.
Wow, that's
Awesome.
incredible. Thank you for sharing. All right, we'll have Nick Andrews say a few words next.
Okay. Hi there. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Caitlin, again, thank you so much for us putting this together. It's been wonderful. Tim, I have so many stories, and of course, the guys have touched on it. But when I came up to Beaver campus, he was probably, if not one of the most popular guys on campus. I mean, he crossed, everybody loved him. I mean, you know, you had the guys who were the commuters, the guys in the, you know, in the dorms with intramurals, and nobody brings up the fact that he was a pretty good athlete. I mean, you know, he was a very, very, very good athlete in all sports. Maybe not wrestling. Maybe not wrestling. He didn't do too well in wrestling, but he was. If you would have taped, if they had, the FBI was taping our conversations a lot, they would have probably just. We were quite silly, and Tim was just. We were quite silly all the time. But I will say this: there's probably nobody has made as much of an impact on my life as your father. You know, when I was in school at Penn State, one summer my mother was sick, and she was in the hospital all summer. And I'd go to work and I'd go see her, and then I'd come back, and Tim and I would go out at night. And most of the time I'd go over to Sansu Drive, and that's where I'd hang out that whole summer, in between my junior and senior year. And I'd be chasing that stupid taffy dog or whatever the heck that dog was around, and I would be with the family, and, you know, Big Bill, and the whole family with the swing pool and everything. And then we'd go over Bose and play basketball, and with John Bielik and those guys, and all his knucklehead friends from Bethel Park. And we had a blast. And his family, what a great family. And they were always so good to me. And they really supported me at that time. And then obviously, you know, after school, you know, after we graduated, he introduced us to Naples. And to this day, we're going to Naples, you know, every Thanksgiving. My whole family makes the trek down here. In fact, I joined a club down here, you know, so, and we still meet with Martha and every year. And it's been unbelievable and impactful for my whole family, because my whole family takes part in it too. You know, they still come down, and that's all they know. We did go to Pebble Beach. We couldn't afford it. Oh my God. I'll never forget, we went up to pay and we had to pay $128. And back then, I mean, South Park was $3.25 to play 18 holes. So to pay $128, but it did include the cart. So, but I'll tell you what, it was you know, I've played some really, really tremendous golf courses all over, pretty much all over the world. And that is one of my top 2 experiences in my life on a golf course. And the other one was I had a hole-in-one with my son. That was pretty good too. But that was, but yeah, with Timmy, it was just a great time. And I'll never forget his sense of humor. And I'll never forget just hanging with him. And the world lost a good man, and we most certainly lost a great friend. So thanks again for everybody for setting this up.
Thank you, Nick. He was really proud of your trip to Pebble Beach together. He talked about it often.
Yeah, it was great. It was epic.
Thank you. Sarah, I know you messaged and wanted to say something. And then after Sarah, we'll have Jeff go next.
Great. Hi, Cakes.
Hi.
So, hi, I'm Sarah, and I've known Caitlin and Tim since I was a little kid at 2 years old. So it's been a while, but as an adult now and hearing all these amazing stories of Tim, it's really nice to reflect back on how fortunate I am to have grown up with such an amazing guy. He was close friends with my parents, and I really remember fondly, like everyone saying, how fun and infectiously positive he was. When Caitlin and I were young, we were in a YMCA group called the Indian Princesses. It was a father and daughter organization. My dad, Bob, and Tim taught Caitlin and I a lot of valuable skills like camping. The trips to Yosemite have shaped my life, and I can still picture Tim along with the other dads building a tarp city when there was an unexpected hailstorm in our camp. I also have a fond memory. I remember Caitlin telling, so I'm Jewish, so Caitlin would always give me the inside scoop of Christmas. And she told me about a tradition of putting out a shoe in front of her door. And then the next day there would be gifts in it around Christmas time. And I always thought it was hilarious because Caitlin decided to quote unquote borrow Tim's giant shoe instead of her own, expecting more gifts. And Santa was none the wiser. This summer, I had the opportunity to talk with Tim and Caitlin through Zoom. I was a little nervous, not sure how it would go since it's been a while, but I was the first in the Zoom room. And without stepping a beat, Tim recognized who I was, and we really, I am and was in awe of how comfortable the conversation was under the circumstances. He was happy and dapper in his golf polo. I'm so blessed to have Caitlin in my life who radiates Tim's positive and humorous energy. Even here, especially with all the stories, I can feel his energy in the air. And I love you, Caitlin, and may your dad rest in peace.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, we've known him for a long time. Love you too. Jeff, if you want to jump in, we'll have Jeff go, and then Tom, you can say something afterwards.
Well, Caitlin, wonderful job, and all the people who have spoken have brought back a lot of great memories. I knew Tim from Beaver campus, from Maine campus. I'm from the New York area, so didn't get down to Pittsburgh like all the other people, but I just wanted to share with you in particular some of the things that I think about. Tim had an incredible love of sports. I think the first weekend at Beaver campus where we played tackle football at the top of the hill, to playing basketball, to going to the weight room to lift. Yes, Tim lifted weights, believe it or not. Flag football, tackle football, great softball teams. He had a great love of sports, but more important than that, he had a great love of life. Probably the least judgmental person I know. Always positive. Always ready to have a party, always ready to play any sports or cards or have a beer. So first love of sports, great love of life, and then just a love of people. He liked being around people. You didn't find him alone very often because people wanted to be around him. And that's certainly a special gift. And listening to people, particularly Don and Gene and Nick, about how he handled himself. I know no one would handle themselves with the positivity that he did, given what he went through. So I don't know you well, Caitlin, but he was an incredibly special guy. He's one of a kind person. And it seems that he has shared some of that with you because you're putting on a great show today. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm happy to finally meet you. All
Me as well.
right, Tom McSweeney.
Well, hello, Gallagher clan. First and foremost, Caitlin, I know you don't remember me, but I did hold you when you were a little one. And I have to say, Kim, thank you so much for continuing to reach out to me and finally track me down late last year. I'm in Nashville now, but because of Kim's efforts, I was able to Zoom a couple times with my old buddy Timmy, and it made my whole year, and also brought up just how special Timmy was. Timmy, I met him in General Mills before he came out to California, and Tim might enjoy a beer, but I was known to enjoy many beers. And he kind of teamed up with me, always had his eye out for me, came out to California. And I come from a big Irish family, a lot of boys and 2 baby girls. And Timmy joined our softball club the minute he came out. And he was like the 6th McSweeney boy. He met my mom, my dad, came to family functions. Siobhan, how are you, dear? Been a long, long time. But Timmy was the type of guy that, and you all expressed it so accurately. And I didn't know him until, he came out with Kimmy to California. But in that time, he became such a close friend that when my first son was born in California, Timmy was the godfather. So he was godfather to Timothy Finbar McSweeney. And, looking at some of those young pictures, Timmy, my son, Timmy, looked a little bit like his godfather. I think his godfather might have been better looking, but who knows, And unfortunately, when I'm in radio or became in radio, and so I would move to Chicago and LA and San Diego doing radio and Nashville, I lost touch. But I do remember coming back to visit my family when I was in Chicago radio. And Timmy was there at my brother Joey's in Danville. In fact, they were, I won't say neighbors, but real close. And it was just so great to see Timmy. And the 2 Zoom times, Caitlin, thank you for setting that up. It melted me. I thought I was a pretty tough guy, but it just melted me. It was like I ran a marathon emotionally, and so happy to do it again the second time. And I'll leave it with just, you talk about music, whoever picked out that music background, very, very well done. I'll give you a quote from Tesla, a rock and roll group. It's not what you got, it's what you give. It's not the life you choose, but the life you live. And Timmy led a great life. And I am just so happy that I knew him, was friends with him, and I will carry him the rest of my days. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
That's great. So we just wanted to give anyone else that would like to speak an opportunity. If not, please know that you can still leave messages on the paperless post. So any opportunity, or just reach out to us directly, that'd be great.
Would anyone, we just don't want to miss anyone. There's no pressure. We'll wait like another minute.
Can you run the slideshow again?
What I'll do, I'll send the link out for the slideshow. I actually uploaded it to YouTube, so I'll send it out over email. So you'll all have the link and can watch it.
Well, thank you, Caitlin. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oops, do you want to say something? Does anyone else want to say anything?
I do have
I
one
do.
comment.
Okay.
I do have one comment.
Okay.
And I put it in the chat. I don't know if you saw it. There were so many pictures of Tim with babies. How many of you on this Zoom call are the babies in that picture? In those pictures?
Good question.
I'm sure they were nieces and nephews. How many of you are those nieces and nephews?
A lot of us.
Yes.
Can you unmute and just say who you were? Because it seemed that Tim he loved kids. He loved babies. He was with, all those pictures were him with kids. So how many of you were his kids in those pictures?
There was pictures of
Dawn stole the show. Dawn was all over them.
Dawn and Dara and Craig and Brian, who were his nieces and nephews, his sister's kids, and then Ben, Allie, and Kelly, who were his sister's children. Anyone else can jump in though, if you want.
Caitlin, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
This is Judy Scott.
Judy.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, and I don't know how to do what I have to do, but I have to say that Timmy and Kim and my ex-husband Sam and I did so many things together. I mean, it was wonderful. But I will tell you, the funniest thing was Timmy and his roommates would have these Halloween parties. And so we would all dress up and we had a great time. And I was student teaching at the time. And so one of my girls that I would student teach with, her boyfriend had won a silver star or a silver medal in the Olympics. And I invited them to Timmy's party. So they came and all the girls were excited and we put the silver medal on them. But then all the guys were like jealous and they would grab their trophies from their intramural games and they ran around the circle like, who do you think you are? We won these games too.
That was Mike Shine was his name. He won a silver medal.
Yes. Good memory, Jean. Good memory.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, and we loved him, and had many Zoom calls with him. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Uncle Denny, I know you were we wanted to say something as well.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for putting this together. That was very nice. And I found out a lot about Timmy because I knew Timmy when he was young. And Timmy, the last number of years, but Timmy as a grown man, I was always out of the picture or whatever. And I'm impressed at how many lives he's affected. But I just wanted to tell a few stories. John had mentioned about Timmy stealing the watermelon. He actually stole it with a couple other his friends. And after Dad wouldn't tell the police where Timmy went, Dad basically gave Timmy hell. So Timmy took the watermelon and the cart by himself, the other kids did. He took it back to the store and gave it back to him and said, "I'm sorry, I stole your watermelon." That's part of this honest Timmy that we, that's part of him.
Yeah.
And towards the end, when I would drive down, or when Gene and I would drive down to visit him, the fact that he had dealt with MS for so many years, Bill and I have talked about this. We never could have been as positive or dealt with this nearly as well as our little brother did. And his strength in that, and you've all talked about his positive attitude, also his faith. I would say, keep the faith, Tim. He says, "Oh yeah, I'm keeping it." He says, "I'll keep praying." And I think we talk about how funny Tim is, but his faith and his strength, I think, are what got him through some of these hard times. And I think that's a tribute to him. And I just wanted to share that with everybody. So, but thank you all who participated in this, because it's been wonderful for me. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you all for those memories. Such a great honor and tribute to Tim, and it's just great to hear so many different stories. As a lot of people have already touched on with Tim's sense of humor, one thing that I was able to learn from Tim from our time knowing each other was Tim was very funny, but he could also be very honest. And him and I both shared a love of sports. So when I would see him, we would talk about the Steelers and the Pirates, and he'd always just be very honest with coaches he liked or players he liked or disliked. And I always just felt like he wasn't sugarcoating anything. And a great memory I have of Tim is when Kayla and I would come visit, Tim had his own room, and a lot of the times he would leave the door open while we were visiting. And sometimes Tim would have some unexpected visitors at Genesis, and it might be someone that would wheel in on their wheelchair and not know what room they were supposed to be in, or just come and chat, not at Tim or Keelan or myself, just to chat to whoever. And one time we were visiting and a woman strolled in and just started talking. And Caitlin was trying to be very polite and talk back. And then Caitlin looked at Tim and said, "Tim, you must love having all these visitors come by." And Tim looked at Caitlin, and I don't even think he was trying to whisper, and just said, "I really don't." And it just cracked me up because Tim was just very honest and straight to the point about not really enjoying these unexpected visitors. So always put a smile on my face. I know he put a permanent smile on everyone's face that was here. So that's great to hear all these great tributes. So this is going to be interesting with a very large Zoom call, but we would like to remember everyone. So I'm going to ask in a couple seconds that we just take a group photo. I will count down to 3. Just know that please try to pose or smile for 5 to 7 seconds, so we can get everyone in view.
We have to scroll
So we have to scroll through everyone that's here. So 1, 2, 3.
Okay, hold on.
Keep going. Got it. Thank you. Well, just want to thank everyone again for coming and sharing these great tributes and memories of Tim. I think that we know that Tim loves sports, and I think that this couldn't have happened on a better day that now there is a Steelers playoff game after this. So we want everyone to, continue with Tim's legacy by enjoying a cold beverage and rooting on the Steelers tonight, because that's what Tim would have wanted, to have all his best friends and family gather to cheer on the Steelers. So we just think that this was an absolutely perfect night, and thanks everyone for being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Caitlin, for doing all of this.
Thank you.
Great job.
Hope you all have a
Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thanks, Caitlin. We love you.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Caitlin. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Caitlin.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Kate.
We love you.
We love you, Caitlin. I didn't, yeah.
Bye, Mary Jo. I want to see everybody checks out. People go.
We love you.
All right.
Thank you, Caitlin. We love you.
welcome. It was good to see everyone, truly.
Oh, that's
done.
Yeah. Well, there's Siobhan and Dave.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Siobhan. Hi, Dave.
Hi.
How
do I get out of here?
Come on.
Oh, there it is. Don't leave.
Bye.
And Siobhan.
Hi, Sarah.
Uncle Dave.
Keep it on. Keep it on.
I hate to switch gears, but we're so excited for you.
Oh, thank you.
We love you. We're gonna have to celebrate with you.
I hear you might be coming.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Susie. Hi, Jim.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you? It's good to see
Very
you.
good, thank you. It's so nice to see you. Bad time, but this was tremendous.
I know. This was extremely healing. It was great to see all you guys.
Oh, you're absolutely right. It was perfect. Perfect. We needed it.
Yes, I think so. Hey, we love you. We will see you soon. Talk
Okay,
soon.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Uncle Jim, Aunt Susie, thank you for your stories.
Oh, Caitlin, I could have just kept talking. I mean, I have so much to say. It's so much about you and your mom and your dad.
I thought that when you sent me the pictures when you were running around the lake after that was about as unbelievable as when the sun came out when they were rolling him up to that was unbelievable, Caitlin.
No, it was incredible. And Uncle Jim, so when you download your pictures, they like go in chronological order. And that picture that I had taken when I was running around the lake, they were like minutes apart. Like it was the burial, and then my picture was inserted, and then the rest of the burial.
Well, why do you think that happens?
Hey, Caitlin, there's no coincidences in life.
It's all taken care of for us by you know whom.
Did I send you the picture of we have miniature roses in the front house of the house? The day after Timmy died, I went out and there was one
that had bloomed.
Little rose that had bloomed.
Really?
Susan, I said, there's the message. There's Timmy telling us everything's good.
He's good. He's good.
Yeah, that's so incredible.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Caitlin.
Yeah.
We'll see you, Caitlin. Bye-bye.
Please, let's keep in touch.
Yeah, we will. Okay. Bye-bye.
See you later. Hi, Ian. Ian and Mickey. Okay. Hi. Thank you so much for joining. You're on mute still, and that you don't need to be.
We love you.
Love you too.
Love you
Thank
too.
you for joining. We'll see you all later.
Yeah.
Hi, Keiki. You did an amazing job.